2 tests, barely 6 days, and 2 lopsided results. 1-1 heading to Brisbane sets the series up. Both teams have heavyweight match winners with bat and ball. India's got Bumrah, Jaiswal, Pant, and even Reddy, who can take the game away in half a session. Australia has head and the bowlers, with Labuschagne now back in the runs. But there are also clear weaknesses, hence the lopsided results. There are similarities between Sharma, Khawaja, Smith, and even Kohli, ageing champions who still may have more to give, but are shells of their younger selves. To unpack it all today is my new ball partner bowling, down breeze as usual. Bharat Sundaresan. Baz, isn't Test cricket a wild roller coaster ride these days?
It certainly is, and especially between these two teams. And you go back to 2017, from that point on, they've always been locked at 1-1. I mean, ideally they should have been last year as well when Australia went to India, but they blew a great opportunity to win in Delhi. But they came back in Indore, by which time India had already gone 2-0 up. But that's just India-Australia cricket for you these days. Rarely has one team just been able to break free of the other and dominate it. Probably you have to go all the way back to 2014-15 when Australia went 2-0 up. But even that, the Adelaide Test we've spoken about so many times, where Virat Kohli nearly chased down that big total on the final day, and India were ahead in Brisbane before Australia came back. So it's always nip and tuck. So yeah, you're right. I mean, are there any favourites going into the Gaba Test? I mean, you can probably say Australia have the momentum and the fact that their fast bowlers had to bowl only 80 overs for 20 wickets, but with a short turnaround, you won't really know till probably the end of day one.
Yeah, that's right. We love to make big predictions, and there is room in this morning's new ball for a broader Test cricket discussion around the lopsided nature of these results and what it means for fast forward cricket, on 1.5 speed, as we called it yesterday, to use podcast vernacular, which I know you're very close to, Baz. 1300 736 736 to give us a call. Anything you want to talk about regarding the pink ball test or what's to come, please do so. 0433 98 11 16 on the 40 winks temper text. Let's bowl the first over, the first delivery. Baz, who do we trust more? A dominant Australia from Adelaide or a dominant India from Perth?
Ooh, I mean, the fact that India have had more batting collapses than Australia. I mean, Australia just had to chase down 19 yesterday, so we really can't read too much into it. But the fact that the guy batting at number 7 and number 8 has top scored in 3 out of 4 innings for India, which is Nitish Kumar Reddy, kind of tells you that there is a batting issue. Because don't forget, for all the glory that came their way in Perth, they're still coming off that 3-0 hiding at the hands of New Zealand on home soil, and look what's happened to New Zealand. So we'll obviously talk about the lopsided nature of Test cricket later on in the show. But I think India have batting issues. Where does Rohit Sharma go? And we will talk about him later on in the show as well. But yeah, I would at the moment trust Australia because it almost feels like a couple of their batters are coming into form. Manas looked really good, like I told everyone he will. But the fast bowlers for me, I think Scott Boland, what he was able to do here, we're still not sure about Josh Hazlewood for Brisbane. Like we said this before the Test match, it's a like for like. It won't. Josh Hazlewood, obviously a way more skillful bowler than Scott Boland, but in these conditions, he doesn't. You don't lose too much with him in the side. So Australia look better as of today. Whatever day. What day is it? December 9th? Monday, all right, cool.
Yeah, Monday, and it should be day 4 of the test, and tomorrow should be day 5, but we're nowhere near it. The second delivery, Travis Head's 8th man of the match, equal with Michael Clarke and Mark Taylor and Adam Gilchrist, and he's not far off some of the absolute all-time greats if he gets another one. But what actually, can you break it down for us? What actually happened with Siraj? So my mind has been confused here, and it's been mind-numbing to listen to some of the commentary around it because it's so... things get lost in translation both ways, English to Hindi and Hindi to English. And also, people get things wrong. So, like, you might think someone has said something when they haven't said it. So, break it down in order. What actually happened?
I mean, firstly, people need to stop lip reading everything and jumping to conclusions. And you're right. I mean, it's not even English to Hindi, Hindi to English or often. There's the accent involved. There's the way Travis Head and Mohammad Siraj speak independently. And also, it was very noisy at the Adelaide Oval at that point. Yes, I mean, Travis Head had got out, so the Australian fans had just maybe stopped roaring like they had been for, say, an hour or so leading into that moment. But the Indian fans were still cheering. It was still very noisy. So, look, I was very glad that Rohit Sharma and Pat Cummins didn't give it too much fuel because you saw, I mean, I did read reports about how the hug between them, Head and Siraj, was cold, and you can jump to so many conclusions with anything right now, right? I mean, I think it comes down to do you want to drag the story out or not? I mean, as a journalist, as part of the media.
No, I don't want to drag it out.
Not you. I'm saying, like, just generally, like you can read
the way you want to drag
it
out.
Yeah. But the fact is, clearly there was something said. I mean, we all can lip read what Travis Head said. That was the last thing he said, and then he walked away. And we can sort of make out what Mohammad Siraj was saying. But what the chronology was, I mean, we'll find out in the coming days.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I did try to hang around and bump into a few people I might know across both teams. Wasn't to be, but in the coming days, we will have an answer, hopefully by tomorrow. But
surely no penalty or...
We're hearing that there will be fines, but I can't see anything beyond that.
No.
Yeah, both of them would have had a telling off from Ranjan Madugale, the match referee, and there will be fines. But
you know what they should do? They should just bring them both in and say, guys, don't do this again, have a warning and move on.
Yeah, or settle it in a wrestling ring.
Settle it in a wrestling ring.
Let's settle everything in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, that's yours. Hey, great text messages coming through here. Good morning, lads. I feel that Australia may be the pink ball champs and India red ball champs. Interested in your views. England do not believe pink ball tests are fair. That's from Rob in Hobart. The pink ball record that Australia has is phenomenal. The pink ball record that Australia has in Adelaide is hyper phenomenal. Like, they don't lose there. And the only time it's been close is in the first pink ball test against New Zealand back in 2015. They are lopsided results every single year in Adelaide when it's a pink ball.
Yeah, and if honestly, the team who've come closest to beating Australia since were India in 2020. They were so far ahead in the test match before 36 all out happened, or 36 for 9. They just get it, right? Mitchell Starc, he almost looks like he's bowling on God mode if you're a gamer. It's like he's got all the cheat code. He doesn't even need a cheat code. The cheat code is the pink ball, and he's unplayable. And then these days, I mean, Travis Head hitting 300s in 3 consecutive tests. Although the last Adelaide test was a red ball test against the West Indies, they've lost the fortress at the Gaba. I wonder if they can turn the Adelaide into their own fortress. Well, the last time they lost here was 2018 to India. So maybe we should keep an eye on that Adelaide streak.
Love the show, lads. No fuss cricket. I worry that if Head doesn't make 100, no one else has looked like it for a while. 50s and 60s not going on. Thoughts? If I was going to be really basic about Australia's game plan, if you can have a game plan in cricket, I'm using sort of footy vernacular here, it would be top order, take the shine off the new ball so Head can come in and whack it when it's not swinging. Like, very basic. That is Australia's best chance at making big scores. Yeah, I mean, he's not the tallest, but it's basically just kick to your tall forwards and get them to kick. How about
that is great.
That crossover?
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You learned how to handball, you've learned how to kick. We're going to teach you how to bounce the ball. And you're right, put a tall forward there, kick it in the air, they'll mark it.
There you go. Make sure it doesn't rain as well. The third delivery, Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc both take 5. Nathan Lyon bowls 1 over. To me, looking at it now in hindsight, it looks as if the first test in Perth was a cobwebs game for Australia's bowlers, and now they've found their punch and they've found their form.
I mean, they found their form in the first innings in Perth as well.
They did, that's true.
They've looked fresher, and both Damon Fleming and I had a chat about it on air. I remember as Australia were running through India on that first morning, and even in the lead up, I saw them at training, at the Wacker. We spoke about this on the new ball, I think, in one of our earliest episodes, and everything seemed to be going right. But then it just so happened that the script flipped so quickly that Australia ended up having to bowl on the the hottest day, with the pitch not offering a lot, and India batting out of their skins. So we can't take that away from India either. But as we've seen in these two innings, like I said, 80 overs is all they needed to take 20 wickets. Compare that to the 134.3 overs Australia were made to bowl in the second innings in Perth. It was a dominant performance, and there was something about, there was a bit of mongrel about Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc, wasn't there? Cummins in particular. I mean, I asked him about it in the press conference. I said, you were a lot more animated than usual. Classic Pat Cummins fashion. He kind of battered it down, but you could see it. I mean, whether it was a Rishabh Pant wicket in the first innings, and more so the KL Rahul wicket late on day 2, where or day night 2, as you can call it, where he bounced him and he got him out. And I've rarely seen Pat Cummins. He always has a smile even when he's angry while celebrating a wicket, but that wasn't there yesterday. And then just to bounce out the Indian tail, he hit both Harshit Rana and Bumrah on the helmet. You could see there was. It was a statement that Pat Cummins was
There's a bit of grunt,
making.
wasn't there?
There was.
And that's what we want from Pat Cummins. He can be the nicest guy in the world, but in the end, we want him to bowl with that gusto and that heavy ball, to use another cricket term for you. And Cummins at his best does have that sort of attitude as well. And we need him to do that if Australia is going to win the series. The fourth delivery, Rohit, Virat and the batting order. I might get in some trouble for saying this. I said it before to Sam Edmund and Tim Payne. As much as you can have a junk time 100 in Test cricket, that could have been Virat in Perth. Test 100, well done. He batted beautifully. It was great to watch. But he's still not the player that he was. And his form line of the last 4 years demonstrates that. It doesn't mean that he can't turn it on again, but he's not going to have that same level of consistency that he did at his best. Rohit Sharma's a big worry in the middle order. Again, no shame in getting out to the pink ball in Australia's bowling attack, but his form is poor. Of his last 12 innings, he averages 12.9 in Test cricket, even exacerbated by the fact he's the captain, and you need the captain to be leading from the front. And then the rest of the batting order seems to be a bit hit or miss as well. When it hits, it's great. When it misses, it's poor, as you articulated before. So what can India do with their batting order?
Well, I think Rohit, those two, and we spoke about those two in the lead up to the series. Rohit wasn't there in Perth, but if India have to go deep into the series and really challenge Australia again, one of the two, if not two, have to have a series where they're consistently scoring runs. I don't believe that, and you said there as well, there is nothing called a junk Test 100. Test 100 is a Test 100, but that's where the guys who got 30, 40 Test 100s are the ones who know how to make the most of any situation, any opportunity.
As much as a Test 100 can be a
I completely agree, and that's what you said as well. But I think you saw the way Virat batted, though. I think it was more than the 100, the way he was leaving the ball, the way he was getting at the ball. Probably the match situation allowed him to do that, where he didn't have to think about anything but just ball and bat. But the fact that he was nicked off by Scott Boland, who was such a difficult bowler to face with the pink ball, red ball, any ball in these conditions, but the fact that he was set up in such an obvious fashion, and it's been a problem for him for the last few years, where he just pokes outside with hard hands outside off stump and gets nicked off so regularly around the world, including in the subcontinent. Is a worry, but it's been a worry for a while, which is why this was just his third 100 in 5 years in Test cricket. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. At times, it takes something external to get Virat going. Now, you could see he was trying to get into everything, even before the Siraj head thing happened. You could see he was trying to get into McSweeney's ear and Travis Head's ear. It's a different Australian team to the one he's used to playing against.
They're not getting sucked in.
No, they're not getting sucked in, and most of them don't bite back. Travis Head did eventually, and immediately took responsibility for it and almost felt guilty about it.
Sorry, I'm actually a really nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think with Rohit, with Virat, it's good that he started off in 100. It was looked at as an ominous sign, but two forgettable dismissals in this game. Rohit's the bigger issue, and I was stood not too far away from the dugout yesterday, and there was this moment where he was just sat by himself before the presentation and looking forlorn, staring into the distance. And you can once again read a lot into body language that doesn't exist. Maybe he was just thinking about what time of the day it is in India and whether he can call and speak to his wife.
Or what he's going to have for dinner or something.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. No Indian thinks about dinner at 4 p.m. Come on, but no, I think it's not. He made the sacrifice. He said that in the press conference. He said, "I'm taking a call which personally will be difficult, which is dropping down the order." But he said, "I'm doing it for the team's sake." Now it's very difficult for him to go back on it just because he
can't go back on it.
No, because KL Rahul still looked pretty good in the first innings. So, and obviously Yashasvi Jaiswal is your number one opener. So, he's left himself with very little swivel room, really. If he does fail at the Gaba, I don't know. I mean, he's made one sacrifice. Will the onus be on him to make another sacrifice? And if India go down in particular. So, maybe facing the red ball in the middle order might not be that much of a challenge as it was the pink ball. But we'll have to wait and see.
And it'll be better for the hit as well. So we'll just reserve our full judgment until what we see in Brisbane.